The Night House is a film that I had heard very little about up until its very small and limited release here in the States. But upon its release, I started hearing more and more about it. The word was it was sort of a beautiful story with an interesting script, a really good Rebecca Hall performance, and some excellent cinematography. Well, since I'm featuring it on this episode of Those Hidden Jewels, I can say that all those things are true. Rebecca Hall always gives an amazing performance. The script, though flawed with some holes and conveniences, is still very tight, unique, and sometimes beautiful. Rebecca Hall is really the perfect person to tackle something like this. She's an intense yet subtle actress and can play very well in front of a camera with no other actors involved in the scene. And so much of this movie is her acting by herself. That takes a very skilled and trained performer. Aside from her excellent, understated yet sometimes funny and overly confident performance, the cinematography by Alicia Christian is breathtaking, though not in a flashy way. Yes, a lot of the movie takes place in a house where you wouldn't think there was much, but it's some of the grander shots surrounding the house, in the woods, and specifically the ones that take place in the boat and on the lake. They're just gorgeous. They're haunting and beautiful at the same time. The story centers around Rebecca Hall's Beth, a high school teacher grieving the very recent death by suicide of her husband. Right off the bat, once we meet the character, she starts hearing and seeing things out of the norm which take place within the lake house. Fairly quickly, the story thrusts forward at a great pace, letting us know who her husband really was and what might actually be haunting her. I'm only going to give the basic setup of the story because much else I can say will just end up in spoiler territory. The film has twists, dark turns, reveals, and haunting revelations. It's tight enough to where it's easy to follow and fun to follow, yet also sad and heartbreaking. The direction, lighting, Rebecca Hall's usual powerhouse performance give it that unique flavor and a very different tone. On the surface, it could be your standard person is haunted in a house and has to discover the meaning of it and confront it. Though those elements are certainly here, it's much more than that by the end. Some may find its conclusion convenient or even a bit hokey, and I would say that'd be a fair reaction. However, if you just let the story come together, piece together the clues as Beth does, it's truly terrifying and tells a full story. The small cast is really well rounded. Sarah Goldberg plays Beth's best friend Claire, where she could have just been a background character who's there for Beth to cry on her shoulder, which she does do. There's much more of this character than there could have been, and they have a very intense and close friendship. The legendary Vondie Curtis Hall.
This is the greatest day of my life.
See some ID.
Sure, no problem.
Plays Mel, Beth's neighbor from across the way, who appears to be very concerned and nurturing to Beth, especially during this difficult time. The Night House premiered at the Sundance Film Festival on January 24th of 2020 and was shortly picked up by Searchlight Pictures, who acquired the distribution rights. Due to the pandemic, it was finally released on August 20th, 2021 to extremely positive reviews. Directed by David Buckner, who directed The Ritual in 2017 and one of my favorite horror anthology films, VHS, from 2012. He recently just wrapped production on the new Hellraiser reboot, so let's hope that at the very least he can make that remake watchable. Luke Piotrowski and Ben Collins, the writing duo behind Super Dark Times, wrote the script, which plays out as part drama, part haunting, and part mystery. The three elements are extremely well balanced, as all three of the genres work to make the others stronger. All of this pushed to the forefront by the unsettling and gorgeous Ben Lovett score. If you haven't seen or heard of The Night House and you like suspenseful personal stories with terrific performances and direction to back them up, then you need to seek this one out. It's now available for streaming on HBO Max. It's a great addition to both horror and mystery genres. It's another masterpiece of acting by one of my favorite working actors. There's an emotional breakdown in this movie that is one for the ages and should be in contention with some of the greatest in cinema. Aside from last month's X from A24, the past year has been full of letdowns when it comes to the horror genre, so it's nice to come across this hidden jewel that scares you, makes you think, and entertains you through sheer old-fashioned filmmaking. Thanks everybody for watching. Please click like, subscribe to Cinema Gulp today, tell your friends, smash the bell. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, I'm Ben. We drink your cinema.
I drink it up!